Very good afternoon. I think the energy in the room is at its worst at the moment. I'm standing between you and your tea. I'll try and make it as quick as possible and as interesting as possible. Having said that, I must also accept this fact that I was playing with big risk. Either all of you are going to boo me after this presentation or you might just like it, because I've been sitting here for the last 4 hours or so and I realized that a lot of stuff which was spoken about is very different from all that I've done in my working career. Yeah, I'm still a teenager as far as my career is concerned. I've just turned adult, so I'm just running in my 19th year of work ex, and I've been always scared of guys from finance, yeah, because the TLAs that they use, 3-letter acronyms, yeah, ABC, ZBB, TCM, they all shock us down. And then, of course, start making us look at the whole processes all over again. Having said that, I must also say that I wanted to be an engineer. I gave up engineering and did commerce along with economics and a bit of statistics, and then did advertising. So I've done a bunch of stuff which is very different from what conventional guys do. So before I start off, I want to say a small prayer. When it comes to TCM, I'm almost like avahanam na janami visarjanam, and pujam chaiva na janami kshamyatam parmeshwari, which means that if I do say things which don't fit into your framework, my most sincere apologies, and forgive me for my ignorance. But I hope that what I've got here will give you a sense of what we do in the front end, which is route to market or go to market. Just a quick sense on Unilever. Of course, all of you would know this company, but because we have been talking manufacturing and consumer goods, which are automobile and all of high value items, we deal with stuff which is 50 paise to maybe 500 rupees. Yeah? And I can challenge that nobody in this room would be here who hasn't bought our product in last 1 month. Yeah? So I can almost throw that challenge open here. Last year's turnover for the organization globally was about 53 billion euros. And the good thing is the D&E part, or developing an emerging economy, does about 42% of that business. So if you're investing in FMCG businesses, you can think of putting money in Unilever, because we'll survive longer than some of the other companies globally. Yeah? Because with economic development, it's shifting east and south, yeah, and that's where the population is, and that's where all of us are. We largely deal with 4 kind of categories of products. We have home care for India, which is about 30% of our business. So home care is all of Surf, Rin, Vim kind of brands. Personal care, which is about 50% of our business. So what you use on your body is what is personal care. So if you're using a Dove shampoo or a Fair and Lovely cream or a Pond's cream or Vaseline body lotions, that's our personal care portfolio that we've got. Foods is about 4%, but we have brands like Knorr and Kisan, which is what you'll find on your breakfast table in the morning. And then we have refreshments, which is one of the most lovable brands from our portfolio called Quality Walls, ice creams, as well as a brand of tea, Brook Bond or Lipton, and coffee, which is Brew. So if you're alive and kicking, which all of you are, you can't ignore our brands, because once you're up and about, you will start with our brands and maybe finish the day with our brands as well. So let's see what we do in the front end. And most of our brands, of course, are number 1 or number 2 in their categories. And hence, with the market shares that we have, market shares in India, 35% odd in FMCG, and in modern trade or e-commerce that I run, it's about 41%. In modern trade and e-commerce is a little higher. I'll talk about that a little later. Our last year's turnover is about 31,425 crores. I run about 8,000 crore out of that, based out of Mumbai, in the business that I run. And as I said, difficult to find in household which does not use a Hindustan Lever product in last 1 month or so. This kind of a scope that we've got also pushes us to have a much larger reach and distribution across the country. And thanks Mukesh, because he spoke about stuff that we've been doing for a while, so I'll avoid all of that conversation and talk about a more principle or more conceptual thing that I have practiced and I've seen some of the other companies also practice. So we cover about 2.4 million stores across the country, reaching about 160,000 villages out of 6 lakhs that this country has directly. We go to about 2.5 lakh villages, and it covers about 60% of the rural value that this company has. Have about 3,500 plus distributors across the length and breadth of the country. Just a small sense in saying how do we produce. We have close to about 83 plus manufacturing sites. 29 of them are our own, rest of them are 2P or 3Ps. We sell about 40 billion units of products every year. And that means about 3 million tons of products are moved from our factory into our distributors and then to the shoppers through the retail stores. We work with about 1,200 plus suppliers and associates who get us all of this. And that's the end of Unilever. And let's get into saying what is the go-to-market strategy and how the TCM plays a role. This is the only time I'm going to use the word TCM on my slides. What's route to market? Route to market is nothing but route to market is part of go-to-market strategy. And go-to-market starts when you all look at the R&D, get a product in place, get a marketing mix in place, have a specific geography in your mind, and then you decide which channel you want to take to be able to reach out to your shoppers. Yeah? Route to market comes at the end of that, saying how are you going to service your existing customers or your distributors that you work with. Yeah? That's your route to market. And I'll give you a framework of making those choices after this. We also review the supply chain costs and then the total cost to serve that final consumer to deliver most effective ways of demand generation, which is what happens at the retail store level. Demand capture, which is what Mukesh was talking about, saying salesman goes and captures the demand that your retailers have or your customers have. And then demand fulfillment, which is where the logistics part of the business comes in. Third, it provides an understanding of manufacturer's side in profitable servicing and development of the identified channels. We sell through channels, unlike some of you who have dedicated outlets or multi-brand outlets. We sell through channels. So when I said Nielsen comes and tells you that there are about 8 million stores in the country, all of those 8 million stores can be sliced into different channels. Yeah? And it's a good way to measure this. Next time when you're out and about and standing in front of a store, ask yourself what kind of a store is this. Yeah? If it has gunny bags, has staples, it's a family grocer. Yeah? If it doesn't have any gunny bags, no staples, it's a general store. If it's a kind of store where women like to go and shop, yeah, knickknacks, some beauty stuff, it's a fancy store. The chemist that you and I go and pick up our medicines from is a druggist. And a store where you can touch and feel the products, pick them up, go to the counter, which is where the billing is happening, and you get an invoice. That's a self-service store, and hence can be called a modern trade store. Yeah, so that's how, and of course I left out the most important. If you stepped out and picked up a cigarette for yourself or some candies, that's called a kiosk. Yeah? And most of the stores in this country are kiosks. That's the kind of channels that we have, and hence we must need a development strategy of working with these channels. Last bit of theory here. An RTM alternative that we choose, whichever way we want to reach to our final customers, should satisfy the distribution objective of the firm. Where is it that you want to distribute, and how you want to distribute should be satisfied by the option that you take. It should be the most cost-effective product flow. Yeah? That's where the sales guys like me also think about costs. And then a reasonable cost to serve. Reasonable is the word that I can use, yeah, instead of giving you an equation. Reasonable, ठीक ठाक है, मोटा माटी तो हम कर सकते हैं. Now comes the question saying, whichever company you are a part of, how much do you want to cover directly? And it's almost like this curve reminds you of many curves that you see either in productivity or you see it in marginal utility curve and so on. Because the first steps or the first outlets that you start covering directly give you the maximum joy. Yeah? And that's where you think that, okay, I can deploy my salespeople to be able to cover a part of this overall value that's available in the trade. Yeah? And these are the outlets that your salesman will go. These are the outlets where a distributor will deliver. But then that's not enough, isn't it? We are not happy with just 60% of the market. We want more of it. Yeah? Okay, so you expand a little more and say, okay, is there any other way of covering that market? So we, for example, got a Shakti project in India, and I'm sure most of you would have heard about Shakti project, that allowed us to expand our coverage a little more, get some more value coming in, though those incremental outlets gave us much less than the outlets that we were covering directly. But the classical question is, if somebody comes and asks you, how many outlets do you want to cover? Yeah? The answer can't be saying reasonable number of outlets. It has a nice and fixed equation saying, I will go and cover as many outlets until the incremental outlet coverage costs me more than the profit I make by selling in that shop. Is that right? Exactly. So if that's the question and that's the equation you have, then this curve works fantastically well for not just FMCG, but for any business that you are a part of. Yeah? Now let's go and see if you had, irrespective of whether you sell biscuits, Britannia, or you sell maybe Zuari in Siemens, or you sell FMCG like we do. Modern trade is called modern trade because of what I just told you, yeah, self-service and so on, but it also has something else, which is it has a formal banner or a large buyer mechanism, merchandisers, buyers, and you know, putting it out on the shelves, and then the TOT discussions and so on and so forth. So if you're a small player, modern trade is small contributor, you can go to a wholesale, yeah, simply. I will not name some of those brands, but you've seen large number of brands coming in who put a lot of money on advertising and then put the brand in wholesale, and it starts gaining momentum. Works brilliantly well, yeah? But doesn't work for us because we come somewhere here. So we go for exclusive distributors because our market shares are high and modern trade is not very large in this country. Yeah? If modern trade is very large, let's look at a country like Thailand, or let's look at a country like South Africa, or in UK. UK 100% is modern trade. We don't have a distributor. We work straight away with the channel partners and direct customers. Yeah, so it could be Walmart in the US, it could be Tesco in the UK, or it could be some of these names that you have heard of, Metro in Germany, for example. So you'll work directly with them, get your stuff from your distribution center right into their distribution centers. Okay. If you anytime wanted to make any note from my presentation, this is the slide. So on x-axis, you have turnover markets. Low, high, 2 by 2, all of us understand. On a 2 by 2 will always be low, high. Which quadrant should we address first? What's the lowest hanging fruit? Okay, I just thought it's a serious CII discussion, but I'm just wanting to get some conversation going. What's the lowest hanging fruit on a 2 by 2 metric like this? Yeah, high, high? Because that's most attractive, isn't it? High turnover market, high accessibility. So let's take an example. If you were selling Pepsi, yeah, in a market like Delhi. Delhi happens to be one of the largest markets of Pepsi. So it's a large turnover market, very high accessibility. What kind of distribution system you should use? Simple, easy picking. Get your truck out, start selling Pepsi in every store which cares to stock, and sell it to consumers. Yeah? Simple stuff. Second one, let's go to a high turnover, low accessibility market. Anyone wants to take an example of that? High turnover, low accessibility. Sorry? Yeah, but I'm talking geography because we are talking route to market with reference to a geography. So imagine before Kashmir went out of bound, yeah, Summers, J&K or Srinagar is high turnover market because suddenly there's a large number of tourists who come in, but it's not accessible. Or beauty in Northeast. Anyone from Northeast here? I used to be in Calcutta for 4 years, and I had example of consumers buying a Pond's Age Miracle 600 rupee product on an EMI of 200 rupees a month. Such a beautiful concept. A lady wanting to buy Age Miracle, can't pay 600 bucks, buys that product on a equated monthly installment of 200 rupees. High beauty quotient market, good market from turnover perspective, but very, very inaccessible. So what do? You do creative coverage. As a general manager of Eastern region, I have allowed airlifting of beauty products like Lakme and Pond's from Calcutta to Northeast. Yeah? So you create those, creative coverage ideas, mix and match, Get a truck in 20 feet container full of your products, ship it to Kashmir or Srinagar for 2 months, keep filling it up, and then bring it back after the season is gone. Stuff like that. High accessibility, low turnover markets. Yeah? This happens to all of us. So morning, Mr. Sawane was talking about oral care business. Now, we have a business in shampoo. Yeah? Shampoo, if I ask you, and just to make it interactive because otherwise you'll run for tea, how many of you have used shampoo in last 1 year? I have. Just put your hand up. Last 1 year. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, apologies to those who don't and can't use shampoo, but shampoo penetration is used once in whole year. Yeah, it's about 75-80% in this room. How many of you used a conditioner in last 1 year? Conditioner is what you use after shampoo. Okay, that's about 35-40%. Yeah. What does it tell you? Not every person who uses shampoo uses conditioner, which means it's a high accessibility market. All urban centers, great accessibility for shampoo or conditioners, but low turnover. People are not buying enough conditioners. What do? Then from distribution, route to market perspective, you use your scale. Yeah? Scale of your availability, scale of what Mukesh was talking about in terms of building assortment. So every outlet which stocks our shampoo, which could be Tresemme, Dove, Sunsilk or Clinic Plus, should also stock conditioner along with it. Yeah? And that's the recommendation that you'll make. Last, of course, is low. Not much of us, not many of us worry about it, but the fact is large part of your business comes from it. It's the classic Pareto stuff, where large number of outlets give you very small amount of business, you need to service them. So for example, a bar of Lifebuoy or a sachet of Clinic Plus can be found in 6 million stores. But we can't go to 6 million stores. And those stores are reached through a wholesaler. Yeah? So that's what we do. This chart can be looked at from cost perspective of saying high accessibility, cost will be low. Low accessibility, cost will be high. So on the same 2 by 2, I will get cost in because RTM choices are, as I said, size of the price, which is high turnover markets, it is accessibility, and it is relative cost to serve. So as soon as you put those in, you realize that if it's a high cost to serve market and high turnover, yeah, you know those markets, isn't it? All of you know those markets which are high cost to serve and high turnover. For example, if you walk into a shopper stop and your wife, for those who are men, your wife or partner wants to buy something of beauty and she walks into a Lakme beauty advisor. Do you think it comes cheap for us to put up that Lakme store there? No. That beauty advisor costs us 30,000 a month. But why do we invest in it? Because it's required, because those locations require it, consumers ask for it. Once the trial sampling happens, they end up buying. So the per basket value there becomes 1,500 rupees. So even if we can get 5 such consumers in a day, we are done. Yeah, so those are high turnover, high cost to serve markets. Just to give an example of how relative cost comes into play here. Okay, but moving on, traditional trade is evolving. Just a sense from FMCG, those drug or pharmacy stores where you and I went to buy our medicines are becoming a beauty store also. OTC is growing in this country, and hence over the counter and beauty health is what those stores will do. And that will be about 7 to 10% of the market in next 3 to 4 years. Similarly, open format stores are increasingly being present around us. New channels. Modern trade has been growing at 1.5% of general trade rates for last 3 to 4 years now and beyond, and that will become about 16% of the retail market in this country, and e-commerce will become 4%. That's what all other consultants and people are saying. I heard a word since morning about disruption. I, in fact, do not agree with that word in context of consumers changing. It's transformation, not disruption. Disruption you can call when it impacts you and you are not going through it. My argument on the table is we as consumers are going through it, realizing it, still we call it disruption when we are sitting in the offices, and we call it convenience when we are buying it as consumers. Once again, raise of hands, if any one of you have bought something online, Big Billion Day, Diwali, Amazon, Rolling Thunder, anything in last 3 months if you have bought online. I have. Okay, that's 50% of the audience. People who did not put your hand up, have you tried any of the Ola, Uber, cab services, Paytm wallets? Okay, that covers the balance. 80% of consumers in this room are already on the internet. Our consumers change faster than we do as brand managers, leaders, manufacturers, or company leaders. And then we call it a disruption. So it is transformation as far as we are concerned. I've built a business for Unilever in last 2 years. I used to run modern trade, and then I built a business in e-commerce. And I'm not allowed to tell you how much is it because we are a publicly listed company and we are in a closed period at the moment. But it's sizable now. It's not in decimals anymore. Yeah, it's a full nice round number which is growing much faster as well. That's similar to the chart that Mukesh showed you, so I'll not explain that to you. It's moving from a manufacturer through distributors, logistics to retailers, and then to consumers. Where does the cost sit here? Now let's see some numbers. Gross margins for a normal FMCG on an average will be 35 to 45%. Retained earning will be 10 to 15%. Of course, Marico makes much more money and Emami makes a lot more money. But larger companies like us can only make about 10 to 15. And these are all range numbers. I can't give you specifics, so these are all range numbers. Distribution cost for us is 1 to 1.5% of that. Yeah. Now look at the distribution cost for the second guy who's distributing your products and who's doing the bulk breaking. Yeah, for him, he takes the large truck, works at 4.5–5% kind of a margin, uses 0.5 to 1.5% as a retained margin and spends the balance, which is 2–2.5% in that distribution. So when that salesman is going, when that truck is going on a route, when he's carrying that stock, he's spending 2–2.5% in that distribution, which is called bulk breaking process. Now look at what the retailer is doing. Retailer earns the maximum here, 12 to 20%, depending on what products you have. 8 to 14 is his retained margin, and 3 to 4% is his spends. Yeah, either store or sending the boy down for distribution or so on and so forth. But he does not use any truck or anything. He uses or he deals in single items. Yeah. So consumer, when he buys something for 100, 5 to 6 rupees out of that would have gone into just logistic part of it, which is the last route to market choices that you've made. Yeah. Now I want to change this for you so that the relative costs of different RTMs or route to market choices that you have made can be put onto this plot or can be put onto this graph. So you have handling, can be intensive, can be very low, and on left or on the y-axis you have transport, which is where the cost comes into play. So general trade is the lowest handling, lowest cost. We are happiest working with wholesaler, but wholesaler does not sell what does not sell. Wholesaler only sells what moves. So you can't build new businesses with a wholesaler. Yeah? So you have to go to a modern trade where distribution cost will go up to 1.5 times of that X that you have. And then you have the transformative idea of e-commerce where your distribution cost is 3 to 4x of what it is in general trade. Now the problem is consumers are shifting. You have moved as a consumer. I was in Seattle last month where Jeff Bezos is of course building huge business globally. Jeff Bezos decided about 18 months, 2 years ago, that if Amazon had to become bigger than Walmart, he had to come down to grocery. Yeah? Remember, on e-commerce, what started selling first was books, then became music, then was travel, then was fashion, then consumer durables, then came FMCG, grocery. And if you're selling as Amazon, you have all of this as portfolio. You're going to be balancing that portfolio because you can't be selling a cell phone to the same family every month. But you can sell them a pack of Surf and Dove and shampoos every month. So what builds your familiarity, what builds your frequency of buying, and what builds your stickiness is going to be a grocery product. But when you have that stickiness, you will learn more about consumers and you will be able to sell a better cell phone to that consumer next time onwards. That's what Bezos is now doing. And hence, people in Bangalore, people in Hyderabad are beginning to see Amazon Pantry in action. Yeah? How is Amazon able to handle that cost? Let's look at that. So there are, e-commerce has different service models, and there are multiple permutations which are possible here. I did not have my person who makes my presentations, he's just gotten married, so I have tried to do this last night, so it's a little raw in that sense, but let's look at it from left to right. Blue is the manufacturer, green is the national seller or whoever is selling. National seller is required because we are an MNC, because of the DIPP framework, we can't sell directly to consumers, but some of you can sell directly to consumers. Red one is the portal or the platform, which can be Amazon or Flipkart or Nykaa or whichever platform you and I are buying from. And last is the logistics service provider. Yeah? As they said in the gold rush in the US, who made money? Gold diggers or shovel makers? Shovel makers made money, isn't it? So similarly, in the e-commerce revolution in this country, who's making money? The courier boys. Those are the courier boys, the blue ones. Now there are multiple models which exist in getting your product from manufacturer to the shopper or consumer. The first one, manufacturer selling to national seller, and portal or Amazon selling it along with Amazon fulfilled, FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. So when you get a shipment, there's an Amazon guy coming and giving it to you. That's first model. Second model possible, you give it to, you're a manufacturer, you give it to one person, Snapdeal. Snapdeal buys, Snapdeal sells, Snapdeal provides. All done. You unbox the deal and it comes from Snapdeal. All done. Third model, you give it to a guy who's a national seller and also logistic provider. So for example, Delivery is a company based out of Delhi, Delivery. Yeah? So they are in Delhi, they also do deliveries, so they are called Delivery. How smart, no? Yeah. And then they work with a platform and get the product in the hand of a shopper. So that's third model. Fourth model is you are yourself selling. So for example, Lakme Lever, which is a salon, can be allowed to sell. So a salon sells on its own platform directly to consumers, and those things reach either through a delivery company or through a shipment company. Now all these four models are possible. There are costs involved in each one of them, and you have to decide how will you sell, how will you do the costing. So that's last slide which gives you a comparison. So let's look at what happens in this cost. In e-commerce, that retailer margin and the distributor margin is going to get subsumed into one box, which could be the platform, could be the logistics service provider, could be the seller. And what you have, if you remember the first chart that I had told you, or what Mukesh was telling you, there's that 25% left. From 75 that company realizes to 100 that consumer pays, that 25 is what you have. That 25 should be sufficient to pay for the commission and the last mile logistics. If it does not, then you can't do e-commerce, whichever business you are in. And hence key considerations are cost structure changes, which is what I just spoke about, and hence margin structure could also need a change. Retailer margin changes to commission that we spoke. E-packaging comes in as additional cost. Now remember, all of us made that shampoo bottle good enough to be shipped in a case lot with 24 bottles in a case. Case goes from the manufacturing to the hub to the distributor. Distributor unpacks it, takes out the bottle, and then physically goes and gives it to the retailer. Consumer comes, takes the bottle home, carrying after having paid. As soon as you have paid and carried the bottle, now it's your responsibility as consumer. If the bottle breaks, too bad. Now imagine on Amazon you ordered a bottle of shampoo, it came home, the packet you opened and the nozzle was broken. What do? Amazon, take this bottle back. I don't like it. It's broken. Amazon takes the bottle back without asking any questions. These FMCG products were never meant to be shipped alone. We never made the primary packaging good enough for that last mile. Yeah? Courier box cannot take that packaging. So you can't order a pack of jam, because jam comes in a bottle will break, and there's too much of packaging which is required for that 70 rupee bottle. So we don't sell jams, for example. So that e-packaging comes in as additional cost. Today Amazon is spending, later on they'll start charging, both you and us. Since single item travels, unit economics is critical. What is unit economics? You must be hearing this term in newspapers all the time, isn't it? All new guys are going belly up because the unit economics doesn't work. Unit economics is nothing but if you're buying something for 200 rupees and the margin on that product is only 20%, so 40 rupees. If 40 rupees is good enough to cover the cost of logistics, then unit economics is there. Today, that cost of logistics is a bit more than that 40 rupees. So Amazon, on every unit that they sell, makes a loss. And that's fine, because Jeff Bezos has said that I have to use $1.8 billion every year. I would love to work for a company which says, go spend 10,000 crore every year and build a business. I won't ask you a question, but yeah, some of us are asked those questions. No headroom for reverse logistics costs. So, for example, if you're in the UK and you ordered on Ocado, Ocado is almost like bigbasket.com. Anyone knows Big Basket? Big Basket? Okay, I must tell Hari Menon that there are a lot of people who like him. Hari is the guy who runs Big Basket. So Ocado is the name of the company which runs Big Basket-like supplies in the UK. So imagine you ordered one bottle of 2-liter Coke, and 2-liter Coke went out of stock, and somebody decided to give you 2 1-liter bottles of Coke. देसी आदमी क्या करेगा? ठीक है, 2 bottle 1 liter. But in UK they said no. I'd ask for 2 liter 1 bottle. I don't want 2 bottles of 1 liter. You know what that Ocado guy does? He takes the bottle, throws it in the dustbin. Because taking that bottle back to the warehouse, doing the entry in, and then putting it back into the process is costlier than just giving a credit to the consumer. So reverse logistics, no headroom. Paisa nahi banta isme. So what's the opportunity to optimize? Last slide before tea. General trade versus modern trade versus e-commerce are the challenges that all of us will have. What we need to do is play the portfolio differently. So what I sell in e-commerce is not what I sell in general trade. You can't buy wheel 1 kg on e-commerce, which is 40 rupees a kg. You can only buy Matic, which is 270 rupees a kg. Yeah? You come to modern trade, I will not sell you a sachet of shampoo. 1 रुपए का shampoo नहीं बेच पाऊंगा. यहाँ थोड़ा बिकता है, चेन्नई में they buy the whole lot, so 12 sachets in one string. But I don't sell anything which is less than 100 rupees on those channels. So you get your portfolio right, because when all of us pay more high MRP, is a little better margin for all of us. Yeah, helps. Use shared infrastructure of seller and platform logistic provider, which is what the example that I gave you. If you're working with Amazon, use Amazon's logistic because they're most efficient. Yeah, don't think of saying, okay, I'll keep the stocks here, I'll get another guy to come and pick it up, then he will ship it somewhere else. No. Use it together, you will get benefit of scale there. Evaluate direct to consumer, if you can. For example, we have a business called Pureit. Pureit is our water filters. Once you've bought the filter, then we'll keep selling you the batteries every month. Yeah, as much of water you consume, you have to buy batteries. It's a beautiful model to put it on direct to consumer. Yeah, which means that you come to Pureit directly, you buy your device, and you keep buying the batteries. Yeah? Similar stuff, if you ever want to go for an air purifier, we have a business called Blue Air, which is also a Unilever company now. And there also you need to buy the filters after you bought the device. So that's a good direct-to-consumer D2C opportunity, and all of you can do that. Basket size to be encouraged. Yeah, tell consumers that shampoo ke saath conditioner kharidna chahiye. Buy these two together, your value goes up, and hence your cost of logistics as percentage starts coming down. And that's the beauty in FMCG, because you can fill the basket. Last is robust primary packaging and accurate master data, because as I told you, if consumers online or in modern trade pick up a product which says 120 rupees, but it was priced at 150, they will give it back. In a modern trade store where all of us are shopping, or in a general trade store, you look at the product, you said, kya price hai, 150, 120, doesn't match, put it back. But if it's gone in e-commerce, it's going to charge you for going 50 bucks, charge you for coming 50 bucks. And then you would not know what happens to that product. So reverse logistics is very difficult. So get the primary packaging right and get the accurate master data management right. Last piece, whether you sell on e-commerce or not, whether your business is like FMCG or not, there's a concept I wanted to leave behind with you, and that's called research online, buy offline, or purchase offline. It's called ROPO. Research offline, purchase online, research online, purchase offline. Yesterday I was in a Walmart conference in Delhi, and there was a person from Sultanabad, yeah, small retailer, who says that I have downloaded a Walmart app. I first see the product availability, the pricing, and then only I go and shop in Walmart. He's a retailer. Walmart is only cash and carry, so he was a retailer who checks out everything and then goes.